in Frisco.
Brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Tastes like Miller time. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, make your crypto play today. Buffalo Wild Wings. If it's game day, Buffalo Wild Wings is the place to be. Altec Lansing. Just listen with Altec Lansing, perfecting sound since 1927. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
now your hosts, Nicole Hutchison and Brad Shea.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cowboys Hour. Welcome. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, those of you who will come out to Sidecar Social in Frisco, for joining us. We always appreciate seeing you. And next week will be Victory Monday again, but now we're looking ahead to Victory Monday. We're always very happy to see everybody come out. It's a great place to come out on Monday night. Enjoy this show, get to meet our special guest, and then have a great dinner and watch about 12 things at once on all of the different screens they've got. It's a great place. We're always happy to have those of you who are with us on the Cowboys Radio Network, wherever that is, and those of you who are watching when and wherever you are, streamed on DallasCowboys.com, that little black box, that's what that is, so wave to that. And here's our special guest tonight. I don't know how long it's been since people have been so excited about a rookie offensive lineman, but here is Cooper Beebe, the Cowboys starting center. Now, of course, I might not say that if Tyler Guyton was sitting right here, but okay. I mean, hey, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
When you have a game like yesterday, do you not want to go out in public, or are you looking for something else to think about?
It's definitely tough, especially the way we played. Obviously, we know, we can't play like that ever again. That was unacceptable. I'm a dude that kind of wants to stay in, kind of try to take my mind off things, and not be out and be around. So I try to kind of hide away and find something to fulfill my mind.
What would that be if it wasn't here? Are you a football fan? I presume you're a football fan.
Yes, absolutely.
And so would you watch the game tonight?
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. That'll take my mind off things.
Okay, good. Sure. All right. And then we'll find out more about the whole idea of this. Is because people have been so excited about Cooper since he was drafted, is for you guys to get to meet him and know him as a human being and not just a guy with a number on his shirt and a cage on his head. There's a real three-dimensional person in there. And so I would like to start with, I guess I will ask you one thing, not specifically about yesterday, but there were a lot of questions for the coordinators and Coach McCarthy today, as there always are after a game like this. How do you process it? What do you do? It's so early in the season. Nobody knows what anybody is. But how do you process a game like that?
I think the biggest thing for us is, you got to take a big, hard look in the mirror. And we know, that game wasn't up to our standard. We got beat in all three phases, pretty bad. And, you take a day like today, you look at the film and, you get the corrections made, and we're going to get corrected. We're going to right the ship again. And then, you move on. Like you said, it's a long season. It's early in the season. We can't let one loss, dictate our season.
All right. Now, we are going to talk plenty about how you came to play this position that you play. Do your parents know that this show is streamed on the website?
Oh, absolutely. My dad's all over that.
So do you think they're watching right now?
Oh, I can almost guarantee.
Okay, good.
They are.
Okay. Well, hi guys. How are you? I love that your parents are active on social media. Your dad sends out a picture every week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My dad's all over it. Especially if anybody talks anything about me, he has the Google notification, so he's right on it right away.
Has anybody said anything bad about you?
Not that I've seen. I try to not look at that.
You stay away from that.
How is it having such a great support system like your dad and your mom?
Oh, it's amazing. They haven't missed a game since the freshman year of college.
Oh, wow.
And they've always been my rock and the people that hold me down and they're to support me through the good and bad. So I wouldn't be where I am today without them. For sure.
So after games like this or like yesterday, what was the message from your dad?
So it's kind of funny. You get the mom that's all cuddly, like, oh, it's gonna be all right. And then me and my dad kind of have a unique kind of relationship because he brings his binoculars to games, and he only watches me. And right after the game, we always talk about the play.
As a dad, I can relate. He's doing it right. Okay, go ahead.
So after games, I always come up to him and like, dang, did you see maybe I missed a block here or did something there. So we kind of talk through that way and talk about stuff maybe I need to improve on or something I missed throughout the game. So we kind of you get the love from the mom, but you kind of get the hard like, hey, help do this or you need to work on that from your dad. So you kind of get both sides of it, which I enjoy.
Did he play?
Yeah, so he didn't play in the NFL, but he played college football at Pitt State. He was an All-American offensive lineman.
Okay, good. So he knows what he's talking about. But you say your mother gives you all the motherly, soft place to land. It's great. But everybody who's a Cowboy fan saw all the videos after you were drafted of your mom being the one taking snaps from you as you were trying to practice becoming a center. So how did that become mom instead of dad?
Yeah, so it was kind of a funny situation. Obviously, I got drafted. The first thing they told me is, hey, you need to learn how to snap. You're going to play center. And, it kind of worked out that when I would go and work out and come back home, it'd be my mom's lunch break. My dad would still be working. And, she took the time to, every day she would skip lunch and go out in the backyard and catch snaps for me, which – means the world to me. And, it was kind of cool to see the video been going viral all over the place. But, yeah, she was definitely holding it down for me. Like I say, she got the here we go and all that. So she was really into it. And, I'm forever grateful for her.
Sometimes do you see her kind of finding herself trying to tiptoe in that dad mode as far as being a little bit hard on you sometimes, or do you ever see that?
Yeah, especially when, we were first kind of getting to it, it wasn't, some of the snaps were off, and she let me know about it. I told her, don't be afraid. If you see in the video, she's holding it right where it was, and she'll tell me when it was a bad snap. So she was definitely on me about that, but, I think I needed that to, help me out.
Now I'm going to ask you an uncomfortable question because that's what I do. So you never played center. High school, we know you played almost everything else at Kansas State, but not center.
Yep.
No center in high school?
Nope.
Okay. So now, and they tell you, that they draft you and they say, get ready, you're moving. Get ready to play center. So what we've seen is your mom taking shotgun snaps. The quarterback's not always in shotgun.
Yeah, honestly, for me, the under center.
That's the uncomfortable question.
Yeah, I mean, the under center was the easy part for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it was just the shotgun snaps that I wasn't used to, and because I, in college had taken done quarterback exchange and that kind of thing as a, last resort backup, but never in live game, live practice. So yeah, the shotgun snaps were I needed to work. The under center kind of came natural. And, it was just really the shotgun snaps that I was afraid of at first.
How much different was it when you got into camp and now there was a large human standing right on your nose when you did that?
That was definitely, a kind of eye-opening experience, especially when you have, a Mozzie or somebody right in front of you, another large human being. And, you got to get that snap off and get your hands up pretty quick. It wasn't something I was used to at first, but I'm the dude that's going to adapt and adjust, and you learn from those experiences, and you continue to get better. And by midway through camp, and I was down. I had no problem with somebody being right on me, and it was just a matter about getting my hands up.
Making the transition to play center, how hard was that as a whole?
I think for me, it was just the mental part of it. At the end of the day, football's football. But, I've never been the guy, like I said, never played it in college, was never the guy that was pointing out mic IDs and that kind of thing. So, really the biggest challenge for me when I first got here was just learning the offense and being comfortable and confident with that. And, I think one of the biggest things, that has helped me was when I started, working with the starters. And you got Dak, you got Zach there that, if I have questions, they're there to correct me. And that gave me such a big confidence boost, and it's allowed me to go out there and play confident, knowing I can make an ID point, and if Dak sees something different, he can change me. So that's one of the big things I think that's really helped my confidence.
Does Zach ever do it, or is it all on you?
So it's most of the time it's all on me. Zach has done it a couple times. Just if we get a weird look, especially in protection. We have throughout the week we have our game plan, but if he sees something like, hey, I think we should do it this way. he has the authority to correct me. And, of course, I'm going to listen to a guy like that for sure.
All right, so you said when it started to get a little easier when you started working with the starters. And, of course, when Tyler Guyton, hopefully we'll have Tyler here later in the year, but when Tyler was drafted, Tyron Smith's left, and there's a hole. Go play that. But Brock Hoffman worked very hard in the offseason, and he didn't let them give you quite as clear a path, apparently, to the starting position. How much did that help you? How much has Brock Hoffman helped you?
Oh, a tremendous amount. I mean, I owe a lot to him. I think, especially when I got here, we're competing for the same job. So, he already was a step ahead of me, so he could have just said, hey, I'm not here to help you. Like, I'm not going to help you. But, he was helpful through it all, giving me super good advice, tips and tricks. He'd help me with my snaps and that kind of thing. So, I owe so much to him. He's just a stand-up guy. He's a team player. He could have just shut me out, been like, hey, we're competing for the same spot. I'm not going to help you out. But, he was a team player, and he helped me out, and I'm, forever grateful for him.
And one last thing about that, we'll take a break and then we'll move on. How conscious were you early of being basically in control of everybody else in the huddle once you break and get to the line of scrimmage and you're making the IDs and the checks? It's now not you waiting for someone to tell you. You're the one telling everybody else. How much is that a part of getting comfortable learning how to play that position?
That's a huge part of it, especially, when you're working with the starters and you have, Zach and a lot of dudes that played a bunch of football. They're relying on me, and this is my first time ever playing. So, when I first got into it, I wasn't very vocal. Shoddy was getting on me a bunch about being vocal, making sure, my points
That's Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator.
were big and long so people could see it. And, they started harping me on that, and I knew, it just came with confidence. Once I continued to learn the playbook, my confidence continued to rise. And then I got out there and, I was like, hey, I'm going to, make sure I don't let these guys down. I control it all, so let me, step up, be confident, be loud, and, it's kind of, gone really good from there.
Can you tell we're going to like Cooper Beebe? We're going to enjoy our time with him tonight. We are at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco on the Cowboys Hour. And Nicole now will read one of these fancy things that she has.
Yes, this segment is brought to you by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
We'll be right back on the Cowboys Hour.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
And welcome back. Thank you all again, wherever you are, for being with us. Brad Sham, Nicole Hutchinson, our special guest, Cowboys center Cooper Beebe. Yes, give it up.
Love the energy.
Give it up for this man. Absolutely. You grew up in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yep.
Now, sorry, I went to Missouri. I'm not sorry that I went to Missouri, but once upon a time, Missouri and Kansas State were rivals. Now they're not in the same conference anymore, and that's a whole other movie. But people who are not familiar with the state, I also, by the way, matters to no one but me and my brother who's sitting out there because he was born in Topeka.
Okay.
And we lived in Topeka and Wichita.
Okay.
So we know a little bit about Kansas. And Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri, not necessarily the same thing.
No, not at all.
Different approaches. Describe how you see the differences.
Well, I may be biased, but I
You're
think
entitled?
Kansas City, Kansas is definitely the better part of Kansas City.
Because?
I think, once you get over to Missouri, that's when you get the snobs and that kind of thing. And I think
Clearly why I went to Missouri. Go ahead.
And I think, on the Kansas side, you get the, blue-collar, hard-working people. And that's my opinion, and I'm gonna stick to that.
So were you a Chiefs fan?
I actually was not. So, funny, I'll probably get booed here, but I grew up a Patriots fan. I'll tell you why before.
Settle down.
I'll tell you
Settle
why.
down. You didn't pay to get in here. Settle down.
I'll tell you why. So, growing up, I wanted to play defensive tackle. That's actually what I got recruited to K-State
Yeah,
for.
we're going to get to that. Go ahead.
And Vince Wilfork, I don't know why. He was my favorite player. I loved the, whole
big guy
ensemble with the, overalls.
The overalls and no shirt,
and when I was younger, I thought that was so cool. And, he just happened to play for the Patriots, so I became a Patriots fan.
Were you a nose tackle when you played the defensive line?
Yeah.
Well, he was born a nose tackle, Vince Wilfork. So that's cool. I think, have you seen his barbecue commercials with Jason Kelsey?
Just
really he's very good at it. So the defensive line part of it really interests me. Here's a fun fact that I'll bet very few of you knew. Cooper actually played a defensive tackle for 2 or 3 snaps last year. Last year. How'd that come to be, and how would you describe the experience of being a two-way player? Now, this is the offensive lineman of the year in the Big 12. Go in there. We need you at nose tackle also.
So, unfortunately, at that point in the season, we had a couple nose tackles down, and obviously they knew, I had played, defensive tackle and had experience there, and of course, I'm a big body guy, and they needed somebody to plug up the middle, and our O-line coach, Connor Riley, wasn't very happy about that. But, Coach Kleinman needed me to step in there. And I will say, we played Baylor. I have a tackle for loss on my record. So, it's like of the two-way players right now, it would have been like Travis Hunter and then probably me right now.
Well, okay. He's pretty good, too.
Maybe a little bit farther down, but I'm on that list.
So I'll give you a homework assignment. I'm guessing you probably don't know a lot about Mark Tuinei.
No.
Ever heard the name?
Yeah, I've heard the name, yeah.
So you do a little research on him. Mark Tuinei, I'm going to say 1983. I think that's right. I've been doing this for a while. Came to the Cowboys as a rookie, free agent, defensive tackle from Hawaii, and made the team. And he was tough. And at some point, 7 or 8 years into it, they needed an offensive lineman. He became a Pro Bowl offensive tackle.
Wow.
Made himself a Pro Bowl offensive tackle and was one of the key players on the Super Bowl teams in the early 90s. And God rest his soul, he passed several years ago. But he always told me that he never stopped being a defensive player in his heart. He wished he could go back. They said, we need you here. Fine. It's my job. I'd really like to be over there. Is there any part of you that if it was feasible, you would walk in to Coach Zimmer and say, you know, if you just need someone in the rotation, don't be shy?
You know, I think at this level, no. I love playing O-line. You know, I love what I do, and you know, ever since I got moved to O-line in college, I knew that was probably my best shot in the NFL, and you know, I embraced that. And you know, you don't get much love. You usually get most of the hate, and you know, I embraced that, and you know, that's what I enjoy about being an offensive lineman.
In what ways has being a defensive tackle in the past helped you with the center position?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things is you know, when it comes to, you know, just being agile and being able to move. I think that's one of the biggest, you know, facets of my game that allows me to play center is just the way I move and the footwork, and then also just understanding, you know, what defensive tackles try to attack, you know, how they play, you know, how do they attack your hands, you know, how do they attack your leverage, and that kind of thing helps me, you know, when I'm going against other defensive tackles, know, you know, what they're going to attack.
They told you on draft day, you said, get ready. Nothing handed to you, but get ready. So you are then immersed in that, right? You
Yep.
spent the next several months. When did it settle into you that I'm the center for the Dallas Cowboys?
So like midway through camp, you know, Coach McCarthy brings me in, and of course, you know, I get told, "Hey, Coach McCarthy wants to meet you one-on-one." I'm like, "Uh-oh."
Did you think you were getting cut?
I was like, "Uh-oh, so what I do wrong?" You know, I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong and that kind of thing. And then, you know, he brought me in and it was like, "Hey, you know, you're going to be our guy moving forward."
So that just pardon me interrupting, just so folks understand, the first, I'm going to say 2 weeks, you can correct me, Brock Hoffman took the first team snaps.
Yes.
And you took the second team snaps and some guard.
Yes. Yes.
But then, so now Mike calls you in and he says, you're the guy.
Yeah, and, you know, I didn't even know what to say. I was so speechless just to know, you know, I never ever played the position, but I knew, you know, I was gonna work my tail off and, you know, do whatever it took to get on the field. And, you know, to tell me that I'm gonna be the starting center of the Dallas Cowboys, man, I was just speechless. I didn't know what to say, and you can even ask him. I really kind of just sat there and was just thankful and didn't really know what to say.
I will ask him, as a matter of fact.
Who was the call that you made first to when you found out the news?
Oh, I called. First thing I did when I walked out of there, I called my parents, just to tell them, you know, they've been my, like I said earlier, they've been my biggest support system, and you know, they definitely cried when I told them that, and you know, obviously as parents, you know, you love to watch your kids succeed, and especially at this level, you know, not many people get to have a kid that plays in the NFL, that's starting in the NFL. So, you know, it's definitely brought tears to their eyes.
When you were battling it out with Brock Hoffman, I know the competitor you are. I feel like I know the answer to this, but I want to know, did you ever doubt that you would win the starting job?
I think, honestly, early on there was some, you know, just because I was so far behind, just not knowing, you know, how to really play this center position. So I think early on, you know, there was definitely doubt there. You know, I think one of the biggest things that kind of changed my mindset, you know, when I was with, you know, at training camp, you know, I had just been talking to Dak. And, of course, you know, I'm the second guy at that point. And, you know, he said, hey, you just got to go out there, you know, play with confidence and just be you. You know, when he told me that, he goes, you know what, yeah, I was like, you know, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to, you know, bust my butt to, you know, every play. And, you know, it turned out, you know, that's where a lot of my confidence came from, just a simple, hey, go out there and be you. And, you know, I think that at that point I was like, okay, you know, I can really do this. And then obviously, you know, going through training camp, you get comfortable, you know, with the dude right across your face, and you kind of get in a groove, and then you kind of figure out, okay, I can do this, especially when you go into, you know, preseason games and you're playing against, you know, other NFL talent. It's like, okay, you know, I belong here. You know, I can play at this level. So early on, I definitely, you know, doubted myself, but there towards the end, I knew I could, you know, compete at this level.
All right, when we come back, we got to take a break. When we come back, the question that Nicole's asked you is, I think it's an important part of your makeup for people to understand that competitiveness and how it has manifested and how it maybe manifests in other areas. I think it's an important part of knowing Cooper Beebe, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
All
absolutely.
right, so we're going to do that when we come back. The Cowboys center, Cooper Beebe, is our guest on the Cowboys Hour at Sidecar Social in Frisco at the Star Center, and we'll be right back.
Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
All right, welcome back here to Cowboys Hour at Sidecar here in the Star. Nicole Hutchison, Brad Sham, we got Cooper Beebe in the building. And this segment is brought to you by Lucchese. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys Collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at Lucchese's 6 DFW locations or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. All right, Cooper, we were talking about the competitive nature from you. Just where does it stem from?
Definitely stems from my family. You know, I grew up, I have 3 brothers. I have 2 older, 1 younger. And, you know, it didn't matter what it was. We were in, you know, the driveway playing 2-on-2 basketball. We were in the yard playing tackle football. And there was always a competitiveness about us. You know, we were always wanting to win. And it didn't matter what it was. It could be something, you know, as simple as, you know, we could go bowling and it turned into, you know, almost fights breaking out. We're so competitive. Or, you know, we'd go, you know, mini golfing and, you know, if somebody hit it, maybe double hit it, you know, we were making sure the stroke counted and that kind of thing. And I think it just stems from, you know, my family. You know, my whole family's a sports family, and, you know, we're big into that. And, you know, just growing up with brothers, you're always competing to win for something.
Anybody have to repair plaster and walls?
All the time. Yeah, we had, luckily my mom changed it to a living room now, but we had an area, and it was just all an open space that we used to play. And, you know, we'd play like tackle football on our knees, and, you know, people would get tossed into the wall.
In the house.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness.
We'd break, like, we still have picture frames that are glued together because we broke them, hitting them with balls and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of repairs at the Beebe household.
You know, keeping in mind that we are going under the assumption that your parents are both watching this. If they're not watching it live as we're doing it, they'll be watching it very soon. So I'm going to ask you to, I don't want to say psychoanalyze, it's too strong a word, but I am going to ask you to kind of think about your mom as the 4 of you are going to, what's the birth order?
So it's my oldest brother, Colton, my oldest brother, Colin, and then me, and then my younger brother, Camden.
What are their first names, your parents?
Tom and Tamara.
Where'd the C's come from?
So that's kind of a funny story. So the first 2, Colton and Colin, were just happened to be, you know, starting with C's, and coincidentally they all had 6 letters in their name. So then my parents were like, hey.
Oh, now it's a game.
We might as well keep it going. So that's where we got Cooper and Camden.
Right.
So the first 2 were accidental, and then we just kept it going.
How do you know?
That's what they tell me.
Okay, fine.
So
all right. Now,
who knows if there's truth to that? But
parents will tell their children a lot of things. Do you think, is there anything from your childhood that makes you say that once upon a time your mother might have wished that there had been a girl sprinkled in there somewhere to help her out?
Oh, absolutely. She'll tell you straight up she wished she had a girl. No, she definitely said, you know, she wished she would have had 1 girl, but, you know, she wouldn't change having 4 boys for anything. And, you know, I think, you know, she's just so blessed and so grateful for all of us. But yeah, she'll definitely, if you ask her, she'll be like, yeah, I wish one of you were a girl. But, you know, she lucked out and got 4 boys, so.
Aside from the competitiveness that your brothers have kind of helped you with, along with your family, what other ways have they kind of pushed you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, you know, a lot of it comes from my older brother. You know, he played college football at Minnesota, and I think the biggest thing he taught me is how to go about my business and how to be, you know, a high caliber athlete. You know,
How much older is he than you?
He's probably.
Sorry, the questions were supposed to get easier, not harder. I'm sorry.
He's probably 5-6 years older than I am.
Okay.
But yeah, so he played at Minnesota, and he was the brother that, you know, I looked up to. I wanted to play, you know, big time college football, and, you know, here he was playing it, and, you know, he taught me like the work ethic and, you know, what it takes to be that kind of athlete. And I think that's, you know, something that's really, you know, propelled my career to where it is today. So, you know, I'm really grateful for him and instilling that in me and how to work hard, because we definitely had, you know, conversations when I first got to K-State, and, you know, he'd tell me like, hey, you know, on this play, like, hey, you need to give more effort there, or that kind of thing. And so he was pretty critical of that, and, you know, I took that to heart, and I think that's really, you know, why I've had the success I've had.
Now, how often do you get to see your brothers?
So they'll be at this game. But, I see them, every so often now. But, we're always on the video games chatting together and that kind of thing. So that's kind of our, family time on the video games. But, I try to see them as often as I can.
All right, since you don't know how old Colton is, the oldest one?
Yes.
Yeah. Since you don't know how old he is, take a guess at the age of the one in between you and him.
Okay, let's see. So I think Colin is 4 years older than me. So he's what? 27, I think.
Don't ask me.
I don't know. I'm so bad at that kind of stuff.
I was told there'd be no math. I can't do any of this. Did he play football too?
So he played in high school. He didn't play in college. He was, I like to say the brains of the family. He's a architectural engineer. So he got the brains of the family. But to be fair, if you ask my dad, he was the most naturally gifted athlete out of all of us.
Your dad was, or your
no,
brother,
my brother Colin was.
Okay.
The one that didn't play, the only one that didn't play college football was the most naturally gifted out of all of us.
Hold on to that brains of the family. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Your younger brother?
Yeah, so he was at K-State. Unfortunately, he had a back injury, so he had to retire. But, he was playing college football at K-State.
So you say that your brother, Colin, according to your dad, is the brains of the outfit.
Yes, absolutely.
But you're studying for your master's degree.
I am. So, went to K-State, and I wanted to, be a teacher. And, people kind of were like, hey, why do you want to do that? Like, they don't make a lot and that kind of thing. And, for me, I always told myself, if you want to have a successful life, you got to make an impact in people's lives. And, I had a lot of teachers growing up that, I wouldn't be here without them. And, I wanted to return that favor. And, when I was done playing football, I wanted to go coach high school and coach football. So now, I'm studying for my master's degree in education, and, I'm hoping to continue that here in the offseason.
And your bachelor's is in?
Secondary education.
Wow.
That's a very Kansas value, I think, don't you? That,
absolutely.
That I want to give back. I want to be a mentor and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Are you good with kids?
Oh, I'm great with kids. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you ever see
Would
yourself?
the kids say that?
I would think so. I think I'm a very fun dude to be around. So.
Okay.
Do you ever see yourself, or this off season, maybe possibly going to help out some other schools in the area?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. Like I said, I love to give back, and there's so many people that have given into me in order for me to be here, and I'm at a huge, I got a huge platform, so just to be able to give back is something I definitely want to do.
It's interesting that you're thinking. It's interesting to me anyway that you're thinking about down the road about. Being a teacher and being a coach, do you foresee that might change at all if you are fortunate enough to stay healthy and have the kind of career you and everyone else expects you to have? You could play, 10, 12 years at a very high level.
Yeah, I think I've definitely thought about that. And I think maybe. If I'm fortunate enough to play that long, maybe not full-time teach, but substitute teach, and I still want to coach. I think that's a great way to give back to kids, especially, the knowledge that I've acquired throughout the years. And, I still want to give back at some aspect. I don't want to just sit around and do nothing. So, I definitely see myself, maybe substitute teaching and coaching.
Is there one teacher or coach that played a pivotal role in who you are today that you can remember?
Yeah, so his name's Mr. Brumbaugh. He was actually our shop teacher, and he was a great family friend of ours, and he had a huge impact, just getting me mentally right, to take that next step into college life. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, and I was just kind of there. I was just kind of taking the classes they told me to take and that kind of thing. And, he kind of put me on the teaching path and kind of talked about, hey, because I asked him, I was like, hey, why do you enjoy teaching? He said, there's nothing better than making an impact on kids' lives. And, that really hit home with me. And, he was the one teacher I always came, I came early to school to see, to hang out with. And, every time, we had the high school game, he was always there, cheering me on. So he had a huge impact in my life. And, I wanted to be like him. So
you're a dadgum Hallmark movie right now. You understand that? Was school easy?
Yeah, other than, maybe the occasional, physics class. for me, you know, I was a pretty bright guy, so it came pretty easy to me. You know, I was not just going to sound bad, but I didn't study very often. I, you know, did really well with that kind of thing. So classes were pretty easy for me.
Physics was always the worst for me too.
Yeah, terrible.
Was there a subject that you, I guess, favored the most?
I love history, and that's why I became a social studies teacher in college. I love the history aspect. I love, you know, all the wars and seeing, you know, how we got here today, and, you know, what events led up to that. And you know, I think history, you know, tells a story, and, you know, I really enjoyed that, and that's, you know, why I decided to study social studies in college.
That's a lot of reading too. Do you read a lot in your off time?
I don't as much anymore. I did in college all the time.
You got all the video games to play with your brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes up time.
Well, and now too, you know, there's a lot of documentaries and stuff like that out there, so you could just watch instead of read nowadays. And that was, you know, me and my roommate in college, his name's Jace Friesen, we'd sit in the living room and, you know, be watching, you know, World War II documentaries and that kind of thing. And, you know, all of our other roommates thought we were lame, but that's what we enjoyed doing. And, you know, like when me and my family go on vacation, I love going to museums. I love kind of seeing historical sites. You know, my other brothers don't enjoy that, but me and my parents do. So kind of a nerdy thing, but, you know, it's something I love to do.
Who else recruited you besides K-State?
So, yeah, Minnesota recruited me and Kansas recruited me. So, for me, you know, I grew up a K-State fan. You know, I wanted to stay close to home. Like I said, you know, my parents were the biggest support system, and, you know, Manhattan was only an hour and a half away. And I saw how tough it was for my parents to get to the Minnesota games for my older brother. So I told myself, you know, I'm going to stay close. And, you know, fortunate enough, K-State offered me, and I jumped on it right away. You know, I was the first in my recruiting class to commit, and, you know, I never looked back.
What you said before about the difference between Kansas and Missouri, could we apply that to Manhattan and Lawrence?
Yes, I think it's definitely two different aspects of the state of Kansas. You know, obviously, you know, K-State's a big agricultural school. You get a lot of the, you know, blue-collar farmer, agriculture type guys, and then, you know, Lawrence, you get all the city people, so, which I'm not saying anything bad because I was a city guy. I lived in Kansas City, but, you know, it's definitely two different realms.
Kansas City,
there.
Kansas.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Not the same thing as Kansas City, Missouri.
Not the same thing, not at all.
I know some of you here at Sidecar Social have questions for Cooper Beebe, and we're going to take some of those when we come back. Delighted to have the Cowboys Center with us tonight, and we'll be back at Sidecar Social at the Star District in Frisco right after this.
Hey, Cowboys.
Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Hello, there we go. Welcome back to the Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham, Nicole Hutchinson, our very special guest, Cowboys center Cooper Beebe. Self-described nerd. What other sports did you play?
Yeah, so growing up, I kind of did it all. I played soccer, played basketball.
Played soccer.
What
when I was
position?
little, yeah.
Were you a nimble little guy?
You could say that, I guess. They put me in goalie, so I think that tells you a
Oh,
lot.
okay. All right.
So,
Okay. All right. Very good.
Which, hey, I was pretty good at. So, so then I played basketball, played baseball, and did track. I love to throw the shot put, and, that was something I really enjoyed doing.
What other sport if you could give yourself equal ability in any other sport to the ability that you have in football? Not take it away, because you can still make that as a choice. But if you could give yourself equal ability in any other sport, what would it be?
I'd honestly probably go with golf if could be good at golf. It's something I picked up in college that I never really did, and I really enjoy going out. And I'm not great at it, but if I had the equal ability now, I think golf would be a whole lot more fun.
How often do you play?
So in the off season, I was going, 2-3 times a week. I always. Like when I'd go back, my dad and my brothers would they play in a golf league on Thursdays, so I'd go and join them on Thursdays and play in their golf league. But in my off time, I try to do as much golfing as I can. I enjoy going out there, and it's kind of a breath of fresh air, kind of get away from football and just enjoy yourself.
It's an insidious game. You know that, don't you? Because you can hit 78 average to rotten shots, and you'll be guaranteed to hit one sweet one perfectly.
That's what gets you coming back.
And that's the one that's right in your veins.
That's why they keep getting your money. You have the one good hole, and you're like, okay, maybe I can do this, and I'm gonna come back next week.
First one's free.
You guys are talking a whole different language. I do not golf.
No, I don't either, but there's a story behind that. We'll talk about that another time. Let's get some questions for Cooper from the audience. Go ahead.
Good evening, Cooper. My name is Rambo.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you. So we all try, for the most part, to be better than the person before us. You had Frederick, you had Biotish before you. What have you seen on film from them in the past that you say, you know what, I'm going to pick up some of these tips and pointers and become a better person? What have you done, or what do you think needs to be done to go to the next level?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so when I actually, first got drafted and got my iPad, Coach Solari, O-line coach, set up, where I could see all of Frederick's film. And that's one of the dudes that I was the first center, I had ever watched. And
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'd go through his game by year and see him progress throughout, his career. And I think the biggest thing, I kind of took away from that is just how smart of a player he was. He was tremendously smart, always put himself in the right position, and, I think that's where I'm trying to get to. Obviously, I'm new, at center, so there's definitely tips and tricks that I've learned from him, and, I hope at some point, in my career I can, meet him, face to face.
So you didn't get a chance to talk to him when he was in camp?
I did not, unfortunately. But so hopefully, at some point I get to, talk to him one-on-one and just pick his brain. Like you said, you always, there's always people that do it before you that you want to learn from, and, who better to learn from than him.
Well, all you got to do is tell Zach Martin. You know that, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like they're besties.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you tell Zach, when Travis comes back, I need a half hour.
Yeah.
And
I'll make sure I get that
And
done.
he is a phenomenal human being, and he'll change your life, and he's now devoting his life basically to making things better for people. That's a good role model to have. Corey, go ahead.
Hey, Beebe. My name is Corey. Piggyback off Rambo's question, like, with you playing the center now and you playing offensive guard in the college, like, is there anyone, like, in today's NFL game or maybe, like, in the past that you've, like, watched film that you kind of want to take tips from just based off the film that you want, or kind of like model your game after?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a funny story, and I told this in college. Zach Martin happened to be the guy that I watched in college, and here we are playing together. So yeah, Zach was the dude that I looked up to. Him, Quentin Nelson was another guy. I watched Shaq Mason at the guard position, and just taking from how technically sound Zach was, and like I said, how smart of a player he was. Always very detailed in his technique, his hands, and that's what made him great. And I try to take that and incorporate in my game, and also just the mentality, that aggressiveness and that physicality he played with. I was trying to incorporate in my game, so it's kind of surreal that a dude I watched in college, took a lot of tips from, I'm playing right next to.
How often did you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go
How
ahead.
often did you watch Zach's film?
Oh, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, we'd go. I'd go up with our own line coach, and we had access to NFL film and that kind of thing, and we'd sit down there and watch it together, and I'd pick up different things from him, and so yeah, I watch his film all the time, and I'm one of those dudes when I watch NFL games, and I don't sit there and look at the quarterback or that kind of thing. I'm watching the O-line play, and of course, he always stands out, so he's always a fun one to watch.
And the interesting thing about him being the guy you looked at to me is, at least the last year, you were both left tackles.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so when you're watching Zach in college, it's a left tackle watching a left tackle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you now? At what point in college did you kind of know you were going to get a chance to play in the NFL?
So I think it was probably my redshirt sophomore year. Was playing left tackle, was first team All Big 12, and I think at that point I was kind of like, okay, I think this could be a real possibility for me. Then of course I moved into guard for the past 2 years, and become an All-American, and that's where it was like, okay, I can, I'm ready for this. I can play at the NFL level, and that's kind of. So that year when I became the first team All Big 12 left tackle, I think that's kind of where my mind kind of shifted to be like, okay, I got a real shot at this.
Did you approach the game differently then?
I think I definitely took a lot more time in my study, I think is one of the big things that I kind of, I wanted to be really detailed and making sure that I knew who I was going up against in that thing. And I think that's where, my film study and stuff really picked up and allowed me to be the player I am today.
I know it's only 2 weeks into the season, but do you feel like you've met the expectations that you had to start this season?
I somewhat. Obviously, just looking at myself, I'm pretty critical of myself. There's always more to improve on and little things like that. So, I'm pretty critical of myself, but I think, I'm off to a good start, but I'm obviously looking to, I still got a whole long ways to go and a lot to improve on.
Hi, Larry from McKinney. Based on what your successes have been so far, do you think, and what is your opinion, how you feel, if your high school would name their stadium after you?
That's actually a great question. Honestly,
Why, have they done it already?
No.
Oh, okay.
But, it's funny because one of my, best friends, his mom's on the school board and that kind of thing, and she always joked about that.
Oh, so that's going to happen. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but, it's something that's very fortunate. There's not a lot of – I was the first NFL player to ever come out of Piper High School, and, we've only had 3 Division I caliber players come out there, and they were all in my family. Wow. So – I don't know. I could definitely see it. I think that'd be really cool. I think at some point they'll definitely ask me for some money, so I'll probably wait for that. Yeah. And then I said, hey, maybe I'll give you some money if you rename your stadium after me. Maybe a statue or something. I don't know.
The settle down. The Piper
Pirates.
The Piper Pirates. Okay. All right. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Let's find out a couple more things. Thank you all. Great questions. Do you cook?
Oh, no, I'm terrible. And I stick to, things you can throw in the microwave or the oven or the air fryer.
Or the air fryer. Okay, that's good. Does your mom cook?
Yes.
Yeah, great cook. Husband and 4 sons, all football players. She got to be a great cook.
Some.
Oh, she's watching.
Oh,
hey,
no.
somewhat. All I'm saying is I ate it, but it wasn't.
Ooh, burning mom from afar. What?
Hey, I will say though, she kept us fed. You don't get this size without being fed.
I understand. All right, someone who is a great private chef is going to make you the meal that you dream of.
Ooh.
Your favorite meal?
That's a great question. I think it would have to do something with shrimp. I love seafood.
Fried or grilled?
Grilled. I think honestly a good shrimp taco with like some coleslaw and that kind of thing would probably be my go-to meal. Honestly, it's probably, you probably would assume like steak or something, but I love seafood and I love shrimp.
It's a man of modest tastes.
Right?
I think there's a lot to be said for that. All right, so the last thing, people can clearly tell you're outgoing, you're warm, and you're so competitive, and you play a nasty game that's very violent, and you can't be this nice when you're playing center. How do we bridge that dichotomy?
Yeah, there's definitely a switch that flips. Once I get on the football field, it goes into work mode. I know I got a job to do, and I got to do it in the best of my ability. And off the field, the flip switch back off, and I'm just who I am. Just what my parents were always instilled in me, to be humble and be kind and that kind of thing. So that's who I am off the field, but. Definitely when I step on the field and it's time to go to work, I put that nastiness on.
What's been the best piece of advice that Zach Martin's given you?
I think for him, it's just, be who, don't try to be something you're not. And that was something, like I said earlier, Dak mentioned to me too. It's, be who you are. You're here for a reason, I think was another big one. And just be who you are, go out there, do your thing, and just be confident.
And I think we can tell we like who Cooper Beebe is. Thanks for being with us.
Thank
Big round of
you.
applause for
Thank
Cooper.
you guys. Thank you guys.
We will be back here next Monday night with CJ Goodwin on our next Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this?